Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the infamous project. You can see project 428 sitting behind me here, but today's video isn't going to be about this car. I have a couple little parts that I'm waiting on in order to finish up the brakes and suspension. So while I'm waiting on those parts, I figured I would do a short little video on a recent acquisition that if you're following my Instagram, you would have seen me post up. And that is an all original 1988 coupe. So I want you guys to stay tuned in and watch this video because I want to get your feedback to see if you guys think, number one, am I crazy for buying something sight unseen? Number two, I want to know if you guys think I got a good deal or was it a fair price? Did I overpay? Did I underpay? And just get your overall opinion about this deal that I just completed. Is this, unlike the 89 coupe that I went to go look at locally the other week, this one was completely hands-off, sight unseen, just some pictures, some Instagram DMs, and some text messaging back and forth made me secure the deal for the car, and the buying price was pretty much the same as that 89 was locally to me. So be sure to check out the rest of this video. You're going to see pictures and some content that is essentially what I use to base my decision to go ahead and buy this car sight unseen. Now, first off, if you're not following my Instagram, make sure you do that. Put the link down below here. Make sure you check it out because I do put more real-time information there first. Allows me some time to gather some content before I make these videos. So about 2 weeks ago, I went and looked at a so-called all-original 1989 coupe up here in Toronto area, and well, I came back with my deposit and an empty trailer. So after I posted a story up on Instagram about that video and that 89 coming back empty-handed, a gentleman who's following me reached out and said, hey, I have an all original 88 coupe that you might be interested in, and he sent me a bunch of pictures. And I really appreciate that. And for anybody else who reaches out to me, because even this 89 coupe sitting behind me was the same thing. I met the guy through social media and he reached out asking me if I wanted the car. Same thing with Lemon Dropped. An individual reached out to me, and I guess that brings me to my first point. If you guys are looking for a Foxbody, I would recommend trying to find something that's not posted or listed for sale, or something where someone can approach you and say, hey, I have this, maybe you're interested. Reason being is that marketplace drives me insane. It's filled. Like, there's so many cars that you have all of these comments. You have so-called Facebook marketplace appraisers on there, and you're just competing with everybody. Needless to say, if you guys have a Foxbody for sale, a nice clean coupe or a Cobra or anything that you think I might be interested in, whether it's yours or somebody else's, feel free guys. I actually have a link on my website that's dedicated to things that I'm looking for, whether it's cars or certain parts. I love my Borbette wheels, I love my ROH wheels and Recaro seats. So anything that I might be looking for, whether it's personal or for a build or maybe even something that I might end up flipping. It happens. It's the name of the game. You got to make some money to make this all worthwhile, right? So if you guys have something, and I do pay a referral fee for when people find me stuff. So I'll put that link down in the description if you guys want to hit that up, be my guest. But let's get into this 88 coupe that I found. I'm going to take a seat. I'm going to go through my phone here, and I'll post up some of these pictures and some of these details as we go along. So the individual reached out to me, and he actually sent me the Marty Auto Works report on the car, giving the details. So it is an original 5-liter 5-speed car. It was a deep shadow blue metallic on blue interior, and I love my blue interiors. I know it's not for everybody, but I like them. And so he sent me that. So I had the details and general overview of the car. And then he proceeded to send me a bunch of pictures. So The story goes on this car is that it is, like I said, original 505 speed. It's been in Georgia its whole entire life. And I actually pulled a Carfax on it, and I was really surprised on how clean the report was. And I'll just show you a snapshot in terms of emission testing dates. But guys, they even had the mileage right when it rolled over 100,000 miles, which usually people don't care, or it's not documented properly, and you get that potential odometer rollback reading. But everything checked out. No accidents. This thing was just as clean as a whistle. So when you're comparing a car like this one compared to the 89 that I went and saw in person, it's kind of at the opposite end of the spectrum. And in my last video, I mentioned an element of trust, and that when you're dealing online, and if you're really looking for a car, you need to be able to take a little bit of a risk. And that risk is sometimes in trusting the person that you're dealing with. So this individual follows me. I'm going to be honest, I don't even follow the guy back. And, I looked at his profile. He's into vehicle racing. He picked up the car, and he just doesn't have room or time for it because he's too preoccupied with his racing. So fair enough. He said that he wanted to make sure the car goes to someone who isn't just going to cut it up, which thank you very much for that. I'm not into cutting up Fox bodies that shouldn't be cut up. I do like to modify some, but where things are original and things should stay that way, I am against cutting up a real nice clean Fox. So he gave me the rundown, and I'm going to tell you guys straight up, the car's been painted. Now that could be a big red flag to some, but the reality is the car is over 30 years old, from Georgia, from the South, probably had some sun fade, but remember, clean Carfax, and all the VIN numbers are in place. A couple of them are oversprayed. I'm hoping I can get that overspray off. If I can't, it's not the end of the world. Now, what's the difference between this car versus the 89 that I went and saw the other week? Well, this one is 100% rust free. There's nothing. There's no rust in the bottom of the doors, no rust underside on the floor pans. There's no rust in the frame rails or any repairs that were done in there. We don't have cutout wheel wells. We have an overall clean, tidy car that just had a respray on the outside. In terms of paint, when the car was getting loaded on a trailer, it looked like a deep shadow blue metallic. But when he sent me some of the pictures that were in underneath some fluorescent lights, it almost looked like a bimini blue. I'm going to be interested to see what it looks like in person. I have a number of cars that are down at my shop in Texas now that I haven't seen in person. There's the 88 white notch from Cali. I have the 93 Calypso notch that came from Florida. And now we're going to have this blue notch that came from Georgia. All rust-free cars, all super clean. But I'm really looking forward to getting my eyes on them, to seeing them in person. So a couple tips about buying cars online and sight unseen that I'd want to share with you guys. So number one, the guy's Instagram profile checked out. His name was incorporated into his username. You could clearly see events that he participates in. There's actual faces that you can put to the name, not just pictures of cars. And most importantly, I was able to take the conversation offline from Instagram, and then we started texting with our mobile numbers directly, which there I got copies of his driver's license, copies of the vehicle title, and the important details. And his name on Instagram was the same as his driver's license, which was the same that was on the title. We all know how it goes when sometimes people buy cars, they don't title them in their name so that they can flip them. But in this case, everything lined up and everything checked out the way that it should. And this is really important because it gives you a sense of security, that the guy is legitimate and he owns what it is that he is selling. So that is a really important thing. You want to validate who it is that you're dealing with. And for me, I think it's an important point that we didn't even have to talk on the phone. We actually had a really good conversation just between Instagram and via SMS. And I sent him the deposit. If you guys are wondering how much I paid for the car, well, I paid $9,500 for it. Now, that is pretty close to what the ask was for the 89 Coupe that I went to go look at. And the cars, honestly, they can't be compared. The only mods that are done to this 91 is the fact that it's been painted. There's been some pony wheels put on it and the Flowmaster catback. Otherwise, it is stock down. The air silencer is still in the car. So super clean, super original in terms of the drivetrain and everything else. You know, the only real, I guess, strike is the fact that it had been sprayed. I much prefer a car that just shows all of its originality, so that way you know what you're dealing with. But hey, again, it's not like paint was done in the door jambs or the engine bay or anywhere else. It was just the outside of the car. I'm curious to see how all the trim is going to look up close. It looks like maybe they tried to touch up the quarter window moldings a little bit, but at the end of the day, you can't ask for too much at this price point. So the guy was very straightforward with the pictures that he sent, and then I asked him some more questions. You know, where exactly is the car located? I asked him for pictures in the engine bay just to make sure that things were a little bit more clear. I wanted to make sure that I could see that even though some VIN tags might have been sprayed over, I wanted to see that they were actually still present on the car, which he did. And, you know, he gave me a little bit of information like the IAC motor was replaced. There's a small hole in the exhaust where the Flowmaster pipe meets the H pipe area. He sent a couple small clips of him driving the car, one of him getting well over 60 miles an hour in it. There's no vibrations in the steering wheel. Everything seems to run and function the way that the car should. So with all of this documentation, it really gives you that sense of security of knowing what you're buying. So for anybody who's out there selling, the more information you can give up front, the better off that you're going to be, and the less hassles you're going to have from people asking all kinds of questions. So that made me comfortable enough to go ahead with this purchase. And I went ahead and I sent him all the money up front. So that's where there's some trust. You know, he got the money by the next day. I called the transport company and, you know, got that sorted out for $650 cash. So there you have it, guys. I'm going to be into this car for a little over $10,000 to my door. And I think I got a real fair price, but I want to hear from you guys and I want to know what you guys think. Did I overpay? Did I underpay? Do you think I got a good deal? Did I do the right thing? Do you guys think I'm crazy for buying something sight unseen and not even talking to the guy on the phone? It's just, I wanted to give you guys a really good comparison about what I went through locally just a few weeks ago versus what happened literally a week after. So I'm really excited to lay eyes on this 88 coupe as I am with the other coupes that are sitting down in Texas. So stay tuned for that. Fingers crossed the borders will open up, be able to get down there and start playing with those cars. I'm just about to finally organize the transport now of the 93 Cobra that is sitting in Georgia as well and get that over to the shop. So that place is going to be full. I need some lifts. So again, thank you guys for tuning in, for subscribing, and all of that good support that you guys give. Next episode, we should be focusing on finishing up Project 428, get those final suspension and braking mods done. And that's pretty much going to be it for that car. So stay tuned for that.